Hey, hello all. We see a lot of attrition happening in the companies. So, uh, as per my experience, I have analyzed few things, uh, and it is basically the relation between the manager and the subordinate that decides the attrition rate within the company. So, I have listed few points which I have seen over a period of time, and I just wanted to share these things with you. Hope a manager or a subordinate somewhere sees this and they will try to apply this. Now, this is what. So I have just divided it into manager, subordinate, and a company. So the company is the separate thing here. It is basically the workforce, and the managers who manage this workforce is the major factor that plays for the success of a company. So what does a manager like? Basically, the manager likes people who are loyal to him. Loyal in the sense, it's not that an employee does what he wants. It's like basically when there is a demand for that resource within a project, he delivers, he reports everything which is suspicious, and who works hand in hand with him. This is loyalty. Loyalty doesn't mean he goes complains on people and such kind of activities happen within the team. So manager, first point that manager likes is the loyalty, and manager again likes him if he is there with him for a period of time. Like for example, if in a specific company a manager and a subordinate work together, example 3 or 4 years, then when a manager moves out to some other company, he would always prefer the employee who has been with him for some time. So there the point of loyalty comes. And now the second thing is extra responsibility. So sometimes within a team, there is that a resource will work on specific project, and if a manager is looking for a help in some other project, some X project a subordinate is working, and for a Y project there is a requirement of a resource. So if the employee can lend his support to the Y project along with the X project, yes, it is always a burden, but still, if such kind of support is extended by the subordinate, and if the subordinate is ready to take such kind of extra responsibility, the manager would love him like anything. And here we have to see one thing: the employee should not scribble regarding this anywhere. That's the major thing. That would what manager would like from the employee. He should be able to take the responsibility voluntarily and not because the manager has requested him or or demanded him. Now, or you should say ordered him basically. So now the third thing is quick decision making. So now if there is a problem within a team, if a particular employee under him comes up with a quick solution to that, or if one can give a quick decision, then he is like a superhero for the manager. And then the more major thing is the team lead. So for a manager, he always looks towards the team lead who could manage the people underneath him, guide the people underneath him, and he expects that neither technically nor personally the things doesn't go beyond this team leader and get escalated to the manager. So a manager would always be looking for a team leader who can always take off the burden from him. And second thing is giving valuable ideas. So this is like the quick decision making where the manager comes up, where the subordinate comes up and gives his ideas. And third thing is a manager always likes a person who is not over enthusiastic. Here over enthusiastic means there are always people, I mean to say employees, where people are over enthusiastic, who tend to leak out the things from the team, spread the things, chit chat everywhere, and these kind of things generally happen over tea or a coffee. So manager generally doesn't like the things to be spread out, which should and there are things which are more confidential that need to be kept in. So a employee who understands the things which are kept to be confidential, and when he maintains that, the manager would love him. And most importantly, if a specific team leader or employee is there, if a manager feels that he's a threat to him, yes, this happens in the industry. This I shouldn't have mentioned, but still it happens. If he feels this employee is a threat to him or he could displace him at some point of time, then definitely manager would not like him at all. Okay, this applies to few managers. There are managers in the industry where they encourage people to do the things. So this is exception sometimes, but giving our human tendency, we rarely find such kind of people. So this is one of the thing that spoils the relation between the manager and subordinate in many cases. And the third thing is, it's the same point as the above. Unless the manager orders the employee should not step into his shoes, like any decision making or anything. Yes, in the peak time when there is no alternative, he should step in, but otherwise when a manager is available, it's the manager prefers him to be the center point rather than a person stepping up and giving his decisions or poking into things. So to simply put, manager likes people who work within their constraints, who perform, and who are there in need. Now the major thing is, manager always expects respect. You should not scribble on the manager when you go out or talk something in front of him. Yes, we should not do, but still, to maintain the relation, to have a healthy atmosphere, these things are always required. When you respect manager, you get back the respect. So this is what the mutual relation that exists between the subordinate and the manager. So I hope you are all clear, and I feel that the managers who are right there, who are watching this video, would feel, yes, some of these points are definitely valid, and this is what happens among the teams within a company. And now, right now we have talked about the manager, but the poor guys are actually the subordinates who doesn't have an alternative. He either has to be within the company even though he has difficulties against the manager, he has to sustain within the company or leave the company. So there are things where the subordinate likes and subordinate doesn't like. So let us discuss those points. The first thing is, subordinate likes always appreciation. So there are managers around who doesn't appreciate. So a simple appreciation at any specific point of time for the hard work that is done by the subordinate will always help for a bigger relationship between the manager and the subordinate. Appreciate when required, scold when required. So this is what the manager should do. If you are not appreciating your employees, then you don't expect work from him. The second thing is price. So there are things here. There is a slight difference between appreciation and pricing. Appreciation is like when the time comes. The pricing is like even when there is a simple thing, like when a specific team meets some other specific project team, or a manager goes to a higher official or some other team, if he prices his employees, it spreads like a rumor, and that's what subordinate always likes. So we always feel that money is important, but along with money, subordinate always likes appreciation and price. That is what motivates him, makes him work for a longer time with a manager and for a company. Now, second thing is, the subordinate always expects support when he is in need. Like for example, a employee needs a leave of 2-3 days, or employee needs to leave on a specific day on a emergency work or a personal work. If the manager supports him without putting any constraints or restrictions, yes, when there is a project delivery, manager can't help, but when there isn't any urgent need, then the subordinate will always, and if the manager provides that kind of support for him, the subordinate would love to work under him for a longer time, and you expect more than 100% effort from the employee when the project is in need. Now you can understand what subordinate likes, and there are many things actually. Now the second thing is increment. So increment is like, basically here comes the manager major responsibility. When there are 10 people in a team, manager should always give priority to the hardworking people, people in need, whatever the topics that we have discussed here. So if that kind of guy is given a proper increment and given his recognition, then the subordinates would like that manager like anything. And then other things like relaxation, yes, the point like support when required, we have already discussed this. So he should be given a chance to relax, like a manager should initiate things like outings or a lunch together, whether it be paid by employees, but if he initiates that, togetherness comes, and subordinate likes those kind of things, and the manager will be prized by this particular guy anywhere, that this manager is different from everyone and we like him a lot. So these kind of relaxation is what the subordinate expects. And then peace of mind. Peace of mind is like, if the project is always in a tense mode, okay, the manager should sit with the employee, make him relax and have peace of mind. That is the kind of manager what subordinate likes. So the peace of mind is not just the peace of mind within the project, it is how the manager gives the employee peace of mind, how he is going to offload his burdens is what matters here. And then the other thing is flexible work culture. So manager, yes, there are flexible work culture everywhere in most of the MNCs, but there are people who wants his team to be within a specific time, but there are times where employee can't avoid few things and he might be late and he might extend some time or he might leave early. So these kind of things the manager should understand, and if a person or employee doing it is on a regular basis, then there is a problem. And if a person does this on demand, on his needs, then that kind of flexible work culture should be accepted by the manager. And if that kind of things are accepted, then subordinate would love to work under him. And then benefits. So benefits are not under the manager's control, but still, if the subordinate is recommended with the HR or finance or any other department for the benefits he is supposed to get, and it again comes like the support when required. So that way, in that case, a subordinate likes him a lot. And then the manager should always understand his problems. That's what the subordinate expects. And subordinate always likes a manager who doesn't overcommit. Like, the manager always knows the caliber of the team, the responsibilities that they take, and the work efforts that they can put, and the deliveries that they can give. So if the manager understands these kind of things and commits within the whatever possibilities that a team can do, then that kind of manager who doesn't overcommit is always a favorite among the subordinates. And then the subordinates is always like people who doesn't play politics. So politics is like, there are managers who prefer few people, who doesn't prefer few people. So again, it all depends on how the manager sees him, whether he is loyal, responsible. So based on this, the manager gives preference to few people and he doesn't prefer few people. So this happens few times in some of the teams. So these kind of managers are never liked by the subordinates. But subordinates always understand that the guys who have worked will always be preferred by the managers. So even the subordinates should sometimes understand that they have to come out of their shell and work as per the will of the manager. So that is always required. So this manager and subordinate always should go hand in hand. Both of them should understand each other. Both a manager should understand the issues the subordinates are facing, and the subordinate should always know what the manager is facing, whether he has pressure from the higher authorities, or are there any difficulties in the projects that are happening. If the subordinate acts as per the requirement, then the manager would love him and subordinate always would get his recognition. So I try to put these few points which the manager and the subordinate likes. If both can understand and come to a common point among these, which is like very difficult, yes, everyone can understand it's very difficult to come to a common point among these which are listed in the two columns. But if those 2 points are trade off and then come to a common conclusion between the manager and subordinate, those guys will work for years together, years and years together. Whether a manager goes or a subordinate goes outside the present company, they just tend to take away these people. So hope we all become a good manager and a subordinate. Now, between these two guys is the actual guy who gave them the life, who is like giving them food, who provides them the actual food, to be frank. So this is the company where and everyone doesn't understand about the company, what are the issues companies have been facing. So companies, the major criteria is the profit. That's what doesn't help the manager as well as the subordinate, but that's what helps the company to grow. And it's a big difference that always puts the employees and the management in a bigger soup. Now this profits, this tendency to earn profits always gives lesser increment and more work pressure and the pressure to deliver on time. So these all causes the employees to leave, even though the manager and subordinate relation is good. If the company can't contribute to the work that has been done by the subordinate or the manager, then no one can control the attrition in that company. So even the company here I meant may not be a very high level official within a company, a medium level management I meant above manager or the delivery level people or the unit heads should understand and find out the people who fits into exact things, and that's what gives a big boost to the manager and subordinate. So that is what is required at that level, and that's what helps people to stay within a company. Now company always wants a customer appreciation. So for that customer appreciation, again it comes down to the manager and then the subordinate, and it's a bigger chain. And then company always prefers experienced workforce, and company always prefers people who are loyal. So if you see the things here, even though you maintain a good relationship between a manager and a subordinate, sometimes the policies of the company doesn't help for them to sustain for a longer time in a company. But if a company can give the benefits that the people are expecting, the increments that people are expecting, see, it's difficult to give increments as expected, but a minimal increment that is expected. So if that is given, then the attrition rate will never go up within a company. To be frank, the more than the company, the manager and the subordinate would always love to have a stable and a fruitful job which gives them peace of mind, relaxation, the increment, and then the work, the chance to grow, and sometimes people who prefer on-site. So see, these kind of things, if a company provides them on a need basis, it's difficult, everyone can understand, but if company can understand that, then the attrition rate would go down. And it is always a trade-off between these three sections that are reported here. But if there are people who can understand these, come up with the solutions, and then give or take decisions as per the needs, or if the decision is not in their hands, provide the report to their managements, and take decisions appropriately before things go out of hand, then those people are like gods to a company. So if you ask me, these people are the HRs, the human resource managers who are there should be strong within a company to give the manager or the subordinates what they desire, because it's these people who understands the regular problems of the company. So hope companies invest on the people who can help them grow, who can keep those workforce together, and then fruit benefits out of it. Experience is nothing these days. It's just the ability of a company to keep the workforce for a longer time always matters. The loyalty comes automatically when you are there for a longer time. It's not that you come in with the people who are experienced and then they go out. So these kind of things never work for a company, because a longer the employee within a company, the higher his understanding, and then the better he would uh, acquaint with the things and go along with the people. Hope I have provided few things which could be a little debate, but please provide your ideas, please provide your comments which is more important, or add anything which I have forgotten. Thank you for watching this video. Yeah.